In today's episode, I want to help you understand that our bodies react just as much as our minds do when dealing with stress and anxiety.
This is how legends are made.
Hi, I'm Ben Jackson and thanks for joining me on today's Daily J. I hope you're doing amazing wherever you are. I was taking some time out yesterday to deal with a number of kind of major issues that I had to deal with personally, and I had to take that day out. I was reflecting that when we get into situations which are challenging and need our full attention, it's important to be able to prioritize and to be able to kind of do the best I could. For yesterday, it was a point of actually saying, right, I had to park putting any content out on Instagram or YouTube or wherever and actually focus on something else which equally needed my time and attention. And there's some things inside that I'm still processing, some events inside that, some learning that I'm still just reflecting on and processing over time. And maybe over the course of the next episode or two, I can share with you what those were. But to recap on how other things went in the day, I had a fantastic session with a school down in Reading and had a fantastic response from there. The students really enjoyed it. And again, it's about resilience and self-esteem, but I think we had a great connection. And for the first time ever, got lots of questions coming back at me, which is wonderful, because that way we can really tailor the information directly to that person to actually give them the most benefit, rather than me just going on about a number of things which don't always connect with everyone. If I get questions, they can be really helpful to be specific to that person and really give them some real value. But on that theme about schools, I was talking to a school recently, I think I may have mentioned that they wanted to focus on a set of students who were not achieving their potential. Having this conversation in the school, there was some of these boys were saying they were happy with getting just the basic number, basic score. They were okay. They weren't looking to aspire to any more, though the teachers felt they could do better. And as we spoke, and this is still a theory until I meet and we have these sessions, I just noticed that it's interesting how everyone reacts differently to stress. And my hypothesis or my thinking as I go into these sessions is I wonder if it's actually these students' reactions to stress which is causing them to kind of downgrade their aspirations from achieving what they seem to be able to achieve to a comfortable number rather than, say, the full amount. And so I kind of like throw my idea of what we can do to help them maybe notice that or explore it at the very least. And what I wanted to draw their attention to is that sometimes we can think of stress and anxiety as expressing itself maybe, very emotional outbursts or lots of emotional internal inbursts, as you like. It's something that's not usually kind of like neutral. We think of it in extremes sometimes. And it could be the case that how these students are expressing stress is to kind of keep away from anything that gets them stressed, in a way that you have that kind of flight and fight response. They are actually keeping away from any of the danger and keeping themselves in a comfortable middle ground. And that stress they're feeling is expressed in this kind of middle area. And what is interesting about that, I think, is that we can easily think, well, I'm not stressed because I'm not displaying the signs of stress or anxiety. Nonetheless, the environment and how we're feeling in other parts can be signals to say that we are. So I think it's interesting or curious to notice that when we are in that kind of like neutral zone or that comfortable spot, it can be our response to stress. It can be our area to go to. And what I want to harness from that for you is that stress or anxiety or lots of different emotions don't always appear as kind of commonly as we think, or in the particular patterns that we imagine. So in those sessions, I'll be exploring just to see if that's true, if everyone's keeping themselves in a comfortable position where they're not being attacked by the idea of looking to aspire higher up and then not achieving it, and keeping in like comfortable balance, and see if it's a form of stress. But that also leads me on to other conversations I want to share with you, again, just to explore that and expand upon it further. And it's about how not just our minds, but our bodies react. And I really feel I'm going to take this as a single episode another time, but I want to just touch on it now. We obviously hear lots of phrases along the ideas of mind and body and how they kind of coexist and how they operate together. And there's mind over here and there's body there, and they kind of fluctuate. And I certainly talk about it in some form in that way. But I wanted to really bring to your awareness something I think that's actually more important and more valid. And it's there is no mind and body. That doesn't exist. What there is a complete system that's always interacting. There is no mind division then into body. It is a complete organic kinesthetic system working back and forth, influencing and communicating in all its different ways. And this little idea really comes from a conversation I had recently about someone who is going through a lot of anxiety but says they're okay, but their shoulders are hunched up and they're getting tighter and tighter. And they say, we're fine, I'm fine, it's okay, don't worry. And they're getting more and more tense. And now they're walking around with that, carrying that tension. It's not that the body is reactive to the mind, it's the whole system. The best way I can put this, and I think I'll try and do it through the sessions with the students, is if you can imagine one of those kind of squeezy balls, or even a balloon, a blown up balloon. Imagine you squeeze it with one hand. Well, no matter how much pressure you put onto it, it's going to probably pop in some form. It might explode even, but it may kind of pop out through between the fingers in some way. The more pressure we put down, it'll move in different directions. It doesn't matter that it's got fingers or air, it'll just move where it needs to go. And it's the same with anxiety and stress and worry. We may internalize it, we may think about it, and we may keep it in our brains, but so often our bodies are communicating the stress. And again, in trying not to be too bite-sized in this particular episode, I really want to draw your attention to notice that stress isn't just located in these extreme emotions. It can be located in the neutral ground between the two where we're keeping ourselves protected, but also can display itself in our physiology, how our bodies react. And I really ask you to begin to remove the idea there's a mind and a body and to think of one system that's interacting. It may not be that we feel stress as we typically think of it, but if we're walking around and our hands are clenched or our shoulders are tight or we're knitting our brow, well, these are all signs we need to be aware of. And once we become aware of them, as you know, we can then acknowledge them and maybe have a communication or a question or find ways to find solutions to understand actually what's going on. It's kind of one of those things, and I'll end on this, some things why it's actually really useful to put some physical exercise into your day or into your week, because you're actually shifting the whole body. You're changing that pattern of breathing and blood flow, muscle working in different ways, and your body is going to react in a different way, therefore your thoughts will react in a different way. And that's why it's so useful to sometimes, if you can, you're able to go for a walk even, but go for a run, cycle, go to the gym, whatever it may be for you. But these things do help in shifting our mind body out of that particular state into one that's hopefully more useful or able to process the anxiety. I feel like I packed a lot in there for you, but I think there's some real key bits you can take away and just think about and find, hopefully you can apply it into your life in some form. And as ever, if you've enjoyed this video, got some value from it, please share it, give it a like, or even drop me a comment. It'd be great to hear from you. Other than that, thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
This is how legends are made.